I am Dr. Anthony Fauci, and today I want to talk to you about something that almost no one considers dangerous, but that could silently be harming your brain every single night: your sleeping position. The way you rest might feel harmless, but as I'll show you in this video, it can quietly increase your risk of stroke, even if you are perfectly healthy. I want you to stay with me until the very end, because I have an important message for your health that you cannot miss. And along the way, I'll ask you to interact, type numbers in the comments like, and share this video, because spreading this knowledge can literally save lives. At first glance, lying flat on your back with one hand tucked beneath the pillow looks completely harmless, even comfortable. Many people even swear it's the only way they can fall asleep. But beneath that comfort hides a silent danger. When you slide your arm under the pillow and slightly elevate your shoulder, you unknowingly put pressure on one of the body's most important blood highways, the subclavian artery. This artery carries oxygen-rich blood from your heart toward your brain, and when it's squeezed or bent out of its natural alignment, blood flow becomes turbulent. That turbulence, over time, creates the perfect environment for tiny blood clots to form. And the terrifying truth is, even microscopic clots can reach your brain and cause what doctors call silent strokes, injuries that slowly chip away at memory, focus, and neurological health. To show you how dangerous this position can be, let me tell you about a patient named Doña Carmen. She was a healthy, active woman in her 60s who never smoked, never had high blood pressure, and took good care of her diet. Yet she began to notice troubling symptoms: sudden dizziness upon waking, moments of numbness in her arm, and occasional difficulty finding words during conversation. After several medical exams, her doctors discovered evidence of multiple microstrokes. The surprising culprit wasn't her lifestyle, it was her sleeping position. Her habit of resting with one hand under her pillow was compressing her subclavian artery night after night, slowly creating the perfect storm inside her brain's circulation. What makes this situation so concerning is how invisible it is. Unlike obvious risks such as smoking or unhealthy eating, a sleeping position feels so innocent that most people never question it. Yet over years the damage builds silently. Researchers have shown that long-term compression of the subclavian artery can weaken the vessel walls and increase the likelihood of clots traveling straight to the brain, raising the probability of a major stroke even in someone who looks outwardly healthy. The good news is that small changes can prevent massive problems. In Doña Carmen's case, her recovery plan didn't require medication or surgery, but rather a re-education of her sleeping habits. She switched her old pillow for a firmer orthopedic model that kept her neck and shoulders aligned without the need to tuck her arm beneath her head. In addition, her doctor recommended a specially designed wedge cushion that provided arm support, distributing weight more evenly and keeping pressure away from the artery. Within weeks, her morning dizziness faded, and her neurological scans showed no further damage. Now, I want you to pause for a second and think, have you ever woken up with your arm asleep, tingling, or feeling weak after lying on it during the night? That sensation isn't just about nerves, it can also be a sign that blood flow is being restricted. If you've ever noticed that, type the number 5 in the comments. By sharing, you'll also help others realize they might be making the same mistake every night. The body often whispers before it screams. Ignoring these small signs is like ignoring a smoke detector, just because the fire hasn't started yet. That is why adjusting the way we rest is not simply about comfort. It is about protecting the brain from silent injuries that could suddenly transform into life-changing events. Now that we've uncovered the hidden danger of the under-the-pillow position, it's time to look at another posture that, although common, can be even more destructive. Let's move into the world of stomach sleepers and reveal why this innocent-looking habit can turn into a neurological nightmare. If sleeping with your arm under the pillow creates silent turbulence in your arteries, then stomach sleeping takes the danger to an entirely new level. Many people love lying face down, hugging their pillow, believing it helps them relax or fall asleep faster. But what happens inside the neck and brain when you twist your head to one side? For hours is far from relaxing. The human head is heavy, around 10 to 12 pounds, and when that weight rests on the delicate network of vessels in your neck, it exerts constant pressure. The biggest victim here is the carotid artery, the main pipeline delivering oxygen-rich blood directly to the brain. Twisting the neck sharply to one side while lying on your stomach stretches and flattens this artery, reducing its diameter and disturbing blood flow. Imagine bending a garden hose. The water doesn't stop completely, but the pressure drops and turbulence builds. In blood vessels, this turbulence doesn't just interfere with flow. It creates microscopic injuries on the artery walls, where fatty plaques can begin to stick. Over time, these plaques narrow the artery, harden it, and accelerate vascular aging, even in people who are otherwise young and healthy. A study from the University of Michigan shed light on just how harmful this posture can be. Researchers found that people who frequently sleep on their stomach with their head turned show higher levels of vascular stiffness compared to those who sleep on their back or side. That stiffness is one of the strongest predictors of stroke risk. The research emphasized that repeated nightly, stress on the carotid arteries doesn't just cause wear and tear, it literally accelerates the clock of aging inside your blood vessels. One case that illustrates this vividly is that of Julio Fernandez, a 42-year-old software engineer. Julio had no family history of cardiovascular disease, yet he began experiencing occasional blackouts, blurred vision, and a strange ringing in his ears. After a series of tests, doctors discovered significant narrowing in his carotid arteries, a condition usually found in men decades older than him. His only major risk factor? A lifelong habit of sleeping on his stomach, with his head twisted dramatically to the right. Doctors explained that his brain had been enduring low-grade oxygen deprivation for years, silently accumulating damage until the symptoms became impossible to ignore. The danger of this position doesn't stop with the arteries. The constant twisting also puts immense pressure on the cervical spine and surrounding nerves. This can trigger chronic headaches, tingling in the arms, and even cognitive fatigue, leaving people waking up more tired than when they went to bed. What feels like a deep sleep may in reality be the body fighting against restricted circulation and strained nerves all night long. Fortunately, Julio's story also shows us the way out. His doctors worked with him to break the stomach sleeping habit. They introduced a body pillow that made it easier to stay on his side, and a contoured cervical pillow that kept his neck in a neutral position. At first, the adjustment was uncomfortable. Years of muscle memory don't disappear overnight, but with persistence, he was able to train his body into safer positions. Within months, his blackout episodes stopped, and his energy levels dramatically improved. So, if you're someone who falls asleep face down, it's important to recognize what's happening inside your body each night. Ask yourself, how many mornings do you wake up with neck stiffness, a pounding headache, or that unsettling feeling of mental fog? These could be your body's early warning signals. If this sounds like you, type the number 4 in the comments. And don't forget, your interaction helps spread this crucial information to others who might be at risk without even realizing it. We've now looked at the hidden impact of stomach sleeping, but the dangers don't end there. Some of the most common comfortable positions, ones people swear by, are also quietly damaging brain health. In the next chapter, we'll uncover 2 everyday postures that may feel cozy, but conceal dangerous twists and compressions that put your circulation and cognition at serious risk. We've already seen how sleeping face down can quietly harm your brain, but the truth is, even side sleeping, something many experts recommend, can turn into a hidden trap depending on the details. 2 of the most common variations of side sleeping, which millions of people adopt every night, are responsible for cutting off circulation, compressing nerves, and even twisting the spine in ways that put the brain at risk of silent damage. The first of these is lying on your side with your arm tucked under your head. It feels cozy, almost like hugging yourself, and many people swear they can't fall asleep without it. But here's the problem. That arm isn't just supporting your head. It's pressing against key blood vessels and nerves that run through the shoulder and neck. When these vessels are compressed for hours, the brain receives less oxygen. Over time, this starves brain cells of the energy they need to function properly. Nerves in the arm and shoulder also get squeezed, which is why many people wake up with numbness, tingling, or that pins and needles feeling. One case that illustrates this is Teresa Aguilar, a 55-year-old teacher. Teresa began noticing that her short-term memory was slipping. She would forget student names, misplace her keys, or lose her train of thought mid-sentence. At first, she blamed stress. But after medical evaluation, doctors realized she had been experiencing repeated episodes of reduced oxygen supply to her brain, connected to her habit of side-sleeping with her arm beneath her head. It wasn't just discomfort, it was a posture silently reshaping her cognitive health. When Teresa switched to a pillow system that supported her head and neck without needing her arm, her symptoms improved dramatically. The second risky posture is what specialists sometimes call the twisted or pretzel position. This is when someone lies on their side but lets their upper body rotate forward or backward, creating a spiral twist through the spine. While it may feel like a natural way to collapse into bed, this twist does something dangerous. It kinks the vertebral arteries, which run along the spine and feed the back of the brain. Twisting these arteries night after night increases turbulence, weakens the arterial lining, and sets the stage for clot formation. Consider the case of Thomas Andrade, a 38-year-old graphic designer. For years he slept in a twisted posture, often waking up with stiff shoulders and neck pain but thinking little of it. Eventually, he experienced sudden episodes of vertigo and even brief losses of balance. Doctors discovered that the blood supply to his brainstem had been repeatedly compromised by this nightly twisting of the vertebral arteries. The scary part? Thomas was young, active, and had no other stroke risk factors. His sleeping posture alone had been creating the perfect storm. The solutions to these positions are straightforward, but require intention. For side sleepers, a supportive pillow that lifts the head high enough to align with the spine, and an additional body pillow to hug, can prevent the urge to tuck the arm under. For those prone to twisting, using strategically placed cushions along the back and between the knees helps keep the spine aligned and prevents rotation. These aren't just about comfort, they're safeguards against slow, invisible damage that could one day erupt into something far more devastating. Now take a moment and think. Do you often wake up with an arm completely numb, or find yourself tangled in a twisted position when morning comes? If yes, type the number 3 or 2 in the comments. Your experience might help someone else recognize the danger in their own habits. We've now seen how even seemingly harmless positions can chip away at brain health. But what about the posture many people default to when they feel vulnerable, anxious, or cold? In the next chapter, we'll expose the most dangerous sleeping position of all, the extreme fetal posture, and why it may carry the highest risk of stroke, especially for older adults. Among all the postures we've explored so far, there is one that stands out as the most dangerous of all, the extreme fetal position. This is when a person curls tightly on their side, knees drawn all the way up to the chest, with the chin pressed down toward the chest. On the surface, it looks like a natural, even comforting pose. It's the way babies sleep, after all. But what feels protective and soothing is, in fact, a silent threat to the brain, especially as we age. Here's why. When you tuck your chin deeply toward your chest, you are compressing both the arteries that deliver blood to the brain and the veins that carry it back. Think of it as a traffic jam in your circulation system. Fresh blood struggles to reach the brain, while used blood has difficulty draining away. This combination leads to reduced oxygen supply and a dangerous buildup of intracranial pressure. Over time, this can trigger what neurologists call silent strokes, tiny, unnoticed injuries to brain tissue that accumulate until one day they manifest as memory loss, difficulty concentrating, or even a major stroke. The danger of this posture was clearly demonstrated in a study conducted at Harvard University. Researchers followed a group of older adults who habitually slept in an extreme fetal curl. They found a striking correlation. Those who maintained this position night after night were significantly more likely to suffer from silent cerebrovascular events compared to those who slept in more neutral postures. The study concluded that while fetal sleeping may feel emotionally comforting, physiologically it puts the brain under enormous strain. Let's bring this down to a human story. Meet Ricardo Salazar, a retired engineer in his 70s. Ricardo had always slept curled tightly, saying it made him feel safe and warm. Over the years, however, he began noticing subtle changes: difficulty recalling familiar names, sudden bursts of confusion when handling simple tasks, and a persistent heaviness in his head each morning. When he finally underwent neurological imaging, doctors discovered he had suffered multiple silent strokes. The common thread? His lifelong habit of sleeping in the extreme fetal position. Ricardo's doctors explained that the problem wasn't just the posture itself, it was the intensity and the consistency. His tightly curled position compressed, blood flow every single night for decades, gradually inflicting damage that no one had noticed until it became irreversible. What shocked him most was learning that something so ordinary, so habitual, could have been one of the greatest threats to his health. Thankfully, there are ways to reduce this risk. Specialists often recommend gentle cervical collars to prevent the chin from collapsing onto the chest during sleep. Pillows designed to maintain lateral support can also help keep the body in a looser, more open fetal posture that doesn't strangle circulation. In some cases, psychological support is part of the solution, since curling tightly is often linked to anxiety or the subconscious search for protection. By treating both the emotional root and the physical posture, patients can reclaim healthier, safer sleep. Now think about your own habits. Do you ever wake up with your chin pressed into your chest or feel pressure in your head after a night curled up tightly? If that sounds familiar, type the number 1 in the comments. You might be surprised how many others share the same experience. We have now revealed the 5 most dangerous sleeping positions, each with its own silent risks to brain health. But the real question remains, if so many positions can cause harm, what is the safest way to sleep? In the final chapter, we'll uncover the ideal sleeping posture, the one that protects circulation, relieves pressure, and keeps your brain healthy for years to come. 30 femmes mature. After walking through the 5 most dangerous sleeping positions, it's natural to feel a little uneasy. You might be wondering, if so many positions are harmful, is there any safe way to sleep? The answer is yes, and it comes in the form of what specialists call the cardiovascular neutral position. This posture is not just about comfort. It is designed to protect circulation, keep oxygen flowing freely to the brain, and prevent the silent damage that builds over time. So, what does it look like? Imagine lying on your back, but instead of being completely flat, your upper body is gently elevated by about 20 to 30 degrees. Your head rests on a supportive cervical pillow that keeps your neck aligned without bending forward, while your knees are slightly bent and supported by a cushion or wedge. This small incline does something powerful. It opens up the airway, relieves pressure on the heart, and ensures that both arteries and veins can work efficiently, delivering fresh oxygen and removing waste without obstruction. It is, quite literally, a posture that allows the brain to breathe. Patients who have switched to this position often report dramatic improvements, waking up with a clearer head, fewer headaches, and more sustained energy throughout the day. Neurological scans even show better circulation patterns compared to those who continue with risky postures. The difference isn't subtle. It can be the line between silent, cumulative brain damage and a lifetime of healthier cognitive function. But here's the challenge. Changing sleeping habits is not easy. The body craves familiarity, and if you've spent years curling up or twisting into certain positions, it will resist at first. That's why specialists recommend a gradual transition. Start by adjusting your bed with extra pillows. Use a wedge pillow to gently lift your torso, and add a supportive roll beneath your knees to ease the strain on your lower back. Over time, your body will adapt, and what once felt strange will become natural. Some people find that adjustable bed bases are a game changer, allowing them to fine-tune the incline until they find their perfect angle. Others rely on cervical pillows, designed specifically to maintain spinal alignment. The key is to make small, consistent changes rather than forcing a sudden shift. Think of it as retraining your body night after night into a position that not only feels good, but also safeguards your brain's future. Of course, the cardiovascular neutral position won't just help with preventing strokes. It also improves overall sleep quality. By reducing nighttime tossing and turning, it promotes deeper, more restorative sleep cycles. That means better memory consolidation, stronger focus during the day, and a more resilient brain as the years go by. In other words, this isn't just about avoiding disease, It's about unlocking the true power of healthy sleep. So here's what I want you to do. Tonight, when you prepare for bed, try setting yourself up in the cardiovascular neutral position. Notice how your breathing feels, how your body relaxes, and how different it is from your usual routine. Then come back and type the word neutral in the comments to let me know how it went. Your feedback could inspire others to try it too. Now, as we close this journey, I promised you something very important. And here it is. The way you sleep is one of the most overlooked but powerful predictors of long-term brain health. We spend 1/3 of our lives in bed. What happens during that time is not passive. Every night you are either protecting your brain or slowly harming it without realizing. By choosing the right posture, you are literally investing in extra years of clarity, independence, and vitality. So don't underestimate it. Protect your brain, protect your future, and most importantly, share this message with those you love. Because the life you change may not just be your own,